Welcome back, my friends, to the D-Rate the Hate podcast. I am your host, Wilk of WilksWorld.com, and I am so incredibly grateful that you are taking the time to join me for another powerful DTH episode. Friends, at the D-Rate the Hate podcast, it's all about bettering the world one attitude at a time. See, we did not create the hate, but with your help, we can derate the hate. That all starts with gratitude and personal accountability. We cannot control everything that happens to us in life, but we can control how we react to it. How we act, how we react, no matter what happens to us, how we react to it makes the difference. Friends, there is only one good thing about a bad attitude, and that is that we have the ability as individuals to change it. Here on the DTH podcast, we strive to bring you great guests and provide tools to do just that. Please be sure to share it with your friends. Subscribe if you haven't done so. Ratings and feedback are always greatly appreciated. And with that, let's get to this week's episode. Now, you've probably heard me say it before, in one way or another, but it's often those things that we know the least about that we fear the most. And this whole thing we've seen in the media and in political circles these days, about AI and people wanting to slow roll this progression of artificial intelligence. Is that really the right answer? Are we even asking the right questions? It seems to be a general tendency for us as humans to fear that which we do not understand. We've talked plenty of times about that on the podcast when it comes to people who differ from us. But history has proven time and time again that new innovations often meet with great resistance. Could it be that there are just some looking to capitalize on others' hesitation to embrace these innovations? My guest this week believes that AI presents the biggest opportunity of our generation. What if we could experience personal and professional exponential growth backed by science and artificial intelligence? Should we fear AI or use this tool to ask better, more curious questions and live our lives in a better way? Now, how does someone go from making just $2 a day, working 12 hours a day in a factory, to speaking in boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies? Now, this conversation in this episode is not simply one about artificial intelligence, but also one of personal triumph over incredible adversity. Manuj Aggarwal is now a global thought leader after 15 years in the world of and developing 4 different patents in artificial intelligence. Manuj has served clients like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education, and many others, producing for them more than $500 million in value. Listen to this conversation as Manuj shares with me how he went from being a troubled, often aloof and angry teenager working for just $2 a day in a factory in India to an innovator whose projects have impacted the lives of more than 10 million people. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. Stick around, my friends. Here we go. Manuj Aggarwal, thank you for joining me on the D-Rate the Hate podcast, my friend. I so excited to have you join me. Been looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. I'm excited as well.
Thank you, Manuj. So I've been looking at the stuff that you talk about here, and there's so many different ways that we could go with this conversation. I became very excited, after you reached out, and I started looking into who you were, your background, how you kind of got started. I've been just thinking about all these different ways that we could go with this, Manuj. But yeah, just for the people who the DTH listeners out there that aren't familiar with you, Manuj, give us the quick version of who's Manuj Aggarwal, and just, it's a fascinating story. So let's just dive right into it. Who's Manuj? How did you get started doing what you're doing?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm just basically a normal engineer fascinated with technology. I started. My tagline is from $2 a day to the boardrooms of Fortune 500. So my journey started in India, working in a factory for $2 a day, and and I got inspired by some business magazines to do something different with my life. And I started searching for what could that mean for me. What is the thing or skill I needed to create more impact, increase my value? And I landed up on technology and programming, and I just fell in love with that. This was back in 1995, and I knew that's what I was going to do. And then one thing led to another. Came to North America, started working with a lot of startups, started working with Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft, IBM, Pearson Education, built technology systems which were global in reach, impacted at least 10 million lives, produced at least 500 million in value for my clients. So that was the amazing journey. And then around 2006 or 7, I started getting into artificial intelligence, and then had like a lot of good implementations of AI. Got 4 patents in artificial intelligence, and
Wow. Okay.
I was just recognized as one of the global thought leaders in AI.
That's incredible, Manuj. From $2 a day, working 12 hours a day in a factory in India, to becoming recognized as one of the top 500 most influential people in artificial intelligence market, 4 patents. So this is an incredible. I mean, that's truly one side of the spectrum to the other. So I definitely want to get into that. But artificial intelligence, AI, we hear a lot about it in the news these days, and frankly, it's freaking a lot of people out, right? And one of the things we talk about on the show here quite often is people fear what they don't understand. People fear what they don't know. That fear tends to lead to hate. Right now, you've got a lot of people out there that are pushing to kind of slow the roll on artificial intelligence. So I do want to get to that, but yeah, I definitely want to get to that artificial intelligence part of your story. But first, I want to learn more about you, Manoj, because one thing that I absolutely love personally when I'm having a conversation with somebody, especially somebody that's gone from adversity to awesomeness, right? So I want to get into that first. So talk to me first, Manoj, about this factory. India. You're from India. You're working in the factory. 15 years old. $2 a day. 12 hours a day. For the people that don't want to do the math, that's a lot smaller than minimum wage, right? No minimum wage. It's just
That's
you're
right.
just doing this to scrape by.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
Talk to me about that, and what was your motivation? I mean, why do you even decide to get out of bed for that little amount of money? Because people here in the States, they look at that and they don't want to go flip burgers for less than $15 an hour.
Yes.
You're working 12 hours a day in a factory for less than $2 a day. Talk to me about that, and kind of what was your motivation? What was your drive? What was your purpose?
Growing up in a third world country, in a developing country, not third world country, developing country, with so much population and so much competition, I think we in North America, and I say this with a lot of respect, I think we are spoiled here. Very, very spoiled. Because in a country like India, and there are poorer countries, there are countries with harsher conditions. Every day is a survival day. It's like, okay, it's not about motivation. Nobody cares about motivation. It's like, okay, if I don't do this, how am I going to survive? What am I going to do with my life? Literally, I won't have food. I won't have, like, basic needs that I need. Yeah, so it's all about just taking one day at a time, and then sort of living through it with any means necessary.
By any means necessary.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I think a lot of people, when you say people are here in North America are spoiled, and I know you're not saying that with any kind of animosity.
Yeah.
You're not poking at people,
Yeah.
just because I've read a lot of what you do. It's not, it's not with some I'm going to get at people and say they're spoiled, but I don't think, and I genuinely think the same, in that people don't realize here in the States, specifically, but anywhere in North America, how good they really have it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I think a lot of people's purpose gets taken away by the fact that we are spoiled in a lot of ways, right? I've heard that phrase where easy times make weak men, and hard times make strong men. And those hard times, when your main purpose every day is survival, if you don't get up and go to work for 12 hours to make that $2, you may not make it through tomorrow.
Yeah.
It makes you a different kind of person.
Yes,
It makes you a stronger person, and I applaud you for that. I applaud anybody who's putting forth that kind of effort just in that game of survival. Here in the United States, I don't think people really understand that. But more so, I mean, coming from my conservative background and my mindset, I think when people are given things, without doing things, it robs them of their purpose. It robs them of their motivation. It really takes away a lot of their drive to do things better. So Manuj, let's fast forward a little bit. You're making $2 a day, 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and all of a sudden you get this opportunity. Or how did the whole school, the engineering school, the computers, where did that start to play in, and how were you able to do something like that with the meager means that you had?
Yeah. So just to add to, thanks for clarifying my comment about spoiled. I just want to add the corollary to what you just said was also, if you just get enough motivation, there is no better place in North America to actually do great things. There's so much opportunity, so much you can do. So that's the differentiator here.
Right.
Now, to answer your next question, how did I get into computers? So as I said, I was looking into something that can help me add value, and computers came to my attention back when the internet was not even a thing in a small town where I grew up. So I just wanted to learn how to use these computers, because I knew that was sort of the future. And I went in the first year around when they opened their doors. The fee was more than my yearly salary, so I could not enroll in the first year. The second year, I was able to enroll. I saved up a lot of money. I even stole some money to be able to afford that.
Wow.
That's so not proud of it, but I did whatever I needed to do to like make sure that I can get in there. And when I got in there, like I just knew this was what I wanted to do. I actually ranked 7 throughout India in the exam, so I knew that I was on the right track. This was my destiny, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And I think that is one thing that you want to find fun in life, even if you're doing something. If you're having fun, whether you're getting paid or not, I mean that's a good way to live life, because eventually you get so good at it that the world takes notice, right?
Right. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's yeah, for sure. That's super cool. And thank you for throwing out that vulnerability there. I mean, just to admit what you've just admitted, and it's one of those things where, but that's also that survival game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the situation that you were in, I think a lot of people may look to that and say that might have been the thing that I had to do,
Well,
unfortunately.
yeah, it's not something that I, yeah, it's a difficult thing to talk about, but I didn't want to lose one more year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can see that. I can see that. And yeah, when 1 year's tuition is more than your yearly salary, and just trying to, even pull something like that together, that's something that, again, I don't think most people in this country could even imagine. And so the fact that you were able to do that. Okay, so with that said, so now you're in computers. You're starting to build this reputation as one of these people that can do these things with computers, and then the whole idea of artificial intelligence. So here, in my mind, until say the past year and a half, couple of years, I think most people, if they were honest with you, would not know anything about artificial intelligence other than maybe what they saw in Terminator, right?
Yes, yes.
Or something. What's that? iRobot or whatever in the movies. Um, me, I don't watch television. I watch very few movies anymore. So artificial intelligence has become one of these fascinating things, and in my mind, it just showed up overnight. There's a lot of other people that it's been affecting for a lot longer. But what I see, and again, one of the things that we talk about so much on this show, and it is people fear what they don't understand, and when they fear something, they often hate it, and oftentimes that hate is unjust. It's certainly not justified, and if people just knew more, they would probably do better. Now, I don't have a dog in this fight because I don't know enough about artificial intelligence to know whether I like it or don't like it. I don't necessarily fear it, but I don't know whether I should fear it. So
Yes.
talk to me, Manuj, about artificial intelligence, and are people's fears these days justified, or is it like so many other things out there right now, much ado about nothing, people trying to hype it up because they want to hype up the fear,
Yeah.
and talk to me about that, because I
Yes,
like I
yes.
said, I just don't know enough about it, but I want to
Of
know
course.
more.
Of course, of course. You see, first of all, artificial intelligence has been around since the 70s, so it's not a new phenomenon. And even if we talk about us, if we use a smartphone today, which most people use it, they're already using artificial intelligence. Everything around us, if you're using smartphone, is controlled through AI. When you write an email, when the spell check comes on, that's AI. When you talk to a voice enabled device like Siri, that's AI. When you go use the GPS, it asks you where do you want to go and gives you the route. That's AI, right? All of that is AI. Now, what has happened is that for the past 20 years or so, people who understood the technology, they used it to build products, to get rich, to build enormous companies. So you take the name of any rich person in the world. Jeff Bezos, Amazon is an AI company. Elon Musk, Tesla is an AI company. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook is an AI company. So all of this wealth has been already created by AI. What happened in 2022 was with ChatGPT, a very, very simple way to interact with artificial intelligence was released so that everyday person can use AI and leverage it. And it was so instrumental that within 5 days, ChatGPT got 1 million users. And
Oh,
that
wow.
has never happened before with any technology project, any technology product. Instagram took 2 months to get 1 million users. I think Facebook took 10 months. And so this uh, proves that artificial intelligence is the biggest opportunity of our generation, multiple generations. And the fear that comes is, as you said, is from misinformation and the unknown. Misinformation, first of all, from Hollywood, with movies like Terminator, that artificial intelligence is going to take over the world. So to that I say, there's only one species on this planet which wages organized war against each other, and that is human beings. And
Hmm.
a war, as you just rightly said, war is a result of hatred or jealousy or ambition or all of these things combined. And for artificial intelligence to feel those emotions take decades or centuries to develop over multiple generations, and then it blows up into war. or
Okay.
harming other people. So in order for artificial intelligence to do something like that, there will be a need for human beings who are so in touch with all this emotional baggage that we carry, that they can interpret that, create an algorithm, plant it into AI, and tell AI that now you are able to eliminate humanity. I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's going to happen. The
Okay.
second thing yeah.
Yeah, let me just clarify that so I understand it. So AI at this point in time, or ever, maybe you can clarify that for me, cannot create its own algorithms. It still takes a human being to say this is what human beings do, and then create an algorithm to make the thing do what it does. Did I understand that correctly?
Exactly. The seed has to be sown by a human being. Now, there are algorithms which can create their own algorithms. But again, when we hurt somebody, that strong emotion
Mm.
is not something that I can describe to an algorithm and say, create that hatred inside you.
I have to
Right?
make a conscious decision, and that's what obviously it's part of the Derate the Hate podcast. It's making a conscious decision to act in a certain way, or deal with things that are outside of my control by controlling what I can control. To make those decisions takes human emotion, human control, and to make an algorithm that can do that
Yes.
is only possible within the human brain.
Exactly. So the corollary to that is artificial intelligence is not harmful, but the human being using artificial intelligence can be harmful. Right?
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
But that is true for any technology. Like I can take my car and go to the grocery store, I can run over somebody, right?
Right. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's just like anything that we talk about, right? The tool is only as good as the person, only as good or bad as the person who's using it.
Exactly. And then the other fear is about losing jobs. So to that I say yes, there's going to be job displacement, but it does not mean that it will take away your job. It will actually create new and better jobs. For
Sure.
example, when the smartphone was released, before the smartphone, there was no such thing as an application app developer.
Right.
Before the internet came along, there was no such thing as a web developer or a website designer.
Right.
So all these new jobs were created, and if you are willing to upskill yourself, if you are willing to learn, you will get paid much better, and you will have a much better time, because the mundane and the repetitive things that we don't like to do will actually be done by machines, and you will be able to focus on what is the pleasant part of the job, which is what humans enjoy.
Right. And I think that's a lot. I think you make a very important point there, Manuj, that many people don't or can't get their head around the fact that innovation actually creates demand.
Exactly.
It's not the other way around. It's not that demand creates innovation. Obviously, there's something that has to be an idea. Generally, there's a demand for a product before something gets created, but innovation actually creates demand,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So when something great comes along, the demand market, once it's shown to be viable for all people to get a hold of, right? I mean, you look back in the 60s, and only the most powerful governments in the world could afford a supercomputer.
Yes. Yeah.
Now we have these smartphones in our pockets that
Yes.
are something that most people could purchase with less than a week's salary,
Yes.
and they are stronger than that. There's a demand for that now.
Yes. Yes.
You can go all the way back to the horse and buggy, and the blacksmith that used to shoe horses, and
Yes.
when the cars came along, and now all of a sudden the demand for shoeing horses, or making wagon wheels and buckboard wagons, and all that stuff kind of goes to the wayside. But now we're building cars, and everybody, and then Henry Ford makes it so everybody can afford a car, or everybody that worked
Exactly.
for Henry Ford can afford a car, right? And now all of a sudden your average person. It used to be just the very, very rich that had a car, but now everybody can afford a car. That
Exactly.
innovation creates demand, and as the demand grows, the prices come down and people can afford it. I love that. Well, that's why I love capitalism, quite honestly, is because without capitalism, that innovation can't be afforded, and only the very rich stay, very rich. And a guy that made $2 a day in India, working 12 hours a day, becomes incredibly wealthy and does incredible things for the world through his products. So might be rambling, but I love the story. So and
Yes.
I want everybody to know this story.
Yes, I will add one more thing here, because you see, AI is even more powerful because it's a platform on which you create more opportunities, right? So, for example, you brought up automobile. Automobile is a product which you buy as a product, right? You cannot build new. Maybe you can open a repair shop and create a business. Maybe you can create a tire shop or paint shop or whatever it is, but not. You cannot create massive industries on top of automobile industry. With artificial intelligence, just like the internet, you can create massive industries on top of it. So it's like an underlying platform where you come up with an idea and you can say, okay, I'm going to use the internet, I'm going to use AI to build this massive industry or corporation or what have you. You will start to see in 5 to 10 years companies with maybe just one employee, like a CEO, going public because everything else is being done by artificial
Everything else is
intelligence.
being done by artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, well, you look at the number of people, Manuj, who have made incredible wealth. They're first time millionaires. They're not these generational wealth people, but people who have used the internet. They understand the algorithms, whether it be social media algorithms or SEO. Right, SEO has a lot to do with artificial intelligence. And they know how to get their name out there. They know how to build a following, and they've for the first time, people who maybe didn't go to college or have 1 year of college, and have built up this incredible wealth, but it's just one person that had an idea, and they've been able to bring that idea to millions because of the use of AI. So I think if people really stop to think about it and think about all the good that can be done with it, but like so many things, I do think there are probably certain risks associated with it.
Absolutely.
What do you think is behind some of these big names out there, Manuj, who are saying that okay, we need to slow the roll on AI, and we need to rethink this or slow it down and really come up with a strategic plan. Why would people be doing that, in your opinion? I mean,
Yes, yes. See, there are multiple things. One is, again, nobody argues that this technology is dangerous, but the implications of this technology can be dangerous in the sense that if we see a lot of people laying off their employees in mass and automating their businesses, which is going to happen to a certain extent, and then there is no safety net for these people. The government is not coming forth with any regulation. There's going to be some social unrest. So to avoid that situation, that's one reason. The second thing is more about misinformation here, because you see the people who are saying slow things down, like Elon Musk and others. On one side, they say slow the progress of AI. On the other side, they are the biggest investors in artificial intelligence themselves. So Tesla, for example, is an AI company. Their Tesla invented the self-driving car. That is all AI. And by the way, when they were testing the self-driving car, it is still not fully ready for production use. It has actually literally killed people during the testing phase. So to say, to say that we should stop AI, you need to again read between the lines and see, okay, maybe maybe there are some other motives, like getting a competitive advantage over over other companies, or not having enough engineers working on sending people to Mars or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
So there are, people say things for various reasons, and the news cycle picks up the most sensational headline that will
Fear,
get
outrage,
them.
and grievance.
Yes.
That's what it's all about, is getting people scared, right? I mean, that's one of the things that I talk so much about is the media likes to freak people out. They like to keep people scared. That's how they keep people tuning in, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and so you talk about the competitive advantage, and obviously, that's one of the first things that comes to my mind. But the other thing that comes to my mind is that, because I look through everything first through the scope of liberty, and how do you? I mean, how there's no way that the idea of liberty comports with the idea of slowing down innovation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you just you can't do one, and it's not going to happen, because you can't put the genie back in the bottle.
Yes,
You
exactly.
you can't say, okay, well, we've gone this far, but we're just going to stop. We're going to put everything on hold for a while, because in the background somebody is not going to play that game, right? They're not going to play by those rules. So once somebody's doing it, everybody's going to continue doing it,
Yes.
because nobody's just going to, out of pure goodwill, say, "Oh, I'm just going to stop. I'm going to stop. I've got all this time and money and resources invested in this. I'll just stop for a while. I'll stop for a while. Let society catch up with what we're doing."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So, Manuj, what do you see the future of this being? What do you as an innovator in this industry, what do you want to see from this? How do you see things playing out? How do you want to get other people involved? What do you think other people can do to get involved in this?
So that's a great question. So one thing I tell people is, it, consider artificial intelligence, specifically ChatGPT, as a super intelligent human being who has a degree in medicine, who has a degree in law, who has a degree in business, who has a degree in history. All of these, subject matters, and AI has an expertise in that. So just like you asked me a question, you can simply sign up for a free account in ChatGPT, and you can describe yourself and say, okay, I live in Minnesota. I'm doing this kind of business. I'm 40 years old. Whatever your life is, and you can start asking it questions. How can I help ChatGPT? How can I use ChatGPT in my business, in my life? And so the point I'm trying to make is, artificial intelligence has now provided infinite intelligence to us, and we need to get better at asking questions, because a good question gets a good answer. So start using ChatGPT. As we also said earlier, if you don't know something, you get afraid of it. You get
Sure. Yep.
you suspect that this is something nefarious. But once you start to use it, that fear goes away, right? So two things I tell people: sign up for a free ChatGPT account and use it to get better at asking better questions. And then the second part is, start getting better at telling good stories, because good stories are the foundation of how we connect with each other as human beings. This is because of the way that we evolved. Handwriting was not available to us until 7,000 years ago. So humans have been around for 200,000 years. So before that, for 195,000 years, the information used to be passed on from generation to generation using storytelling. So because storytelling involves emotions, storytellings help us convey our experiences to others. So if you use ChatGPT for these two things, asking better questions and telling better stories, you will see a whole new world will open up to you. And I will give you one more exercise if if you and your audience wants to try it. Imagine something you want to happen in your life. You're working towards something small, not something like, I want to win the lottery. But let's say you want to, go on a picnic with your or a short trip with your family or something like that. Write a story about that experience, even though it hasn't happened yet, in detail using ChatGPT. You can go to ChatGPT and say, okay, write me a 2,000 word story about me going to picnic with my sons, and read that story to yourself. It'll be in so much detail that your mind will start to create that experience in your life. You will start to experience it. You can start to feel that emotion when you start to read that story. That's how powerful it is.
And then you start to manifest yeah, that you, I mean, so many of my guests, Manuj, have talked about manifesting that what you want, right? And you have to truly believe it. You have to see it. You have to feel it. You have to want it bad enough. And that's an incredible, it's an incredible exercise. I love that because you're right. And I've messed around a little bit with Chat GPT and the detail that it invokes in your mind. It is pretty incredible. And and then the other big thing, like we talked about, those tools are only going to be as good as the person using them. It's going to be as good as the questions that you ask it are really going to determine what kind of answers you're getting. And just like a lot of the work that I do, whether it be with the podcast, Manuj, or my work with Braver Angels, or my regular career, so much of life can be boiled down to what kind of questions are we asking? The relationships that we're in, the conversations that we're having, the effectiveness of our relationships can really be boiled down to questions and what kind of questions we're asking. So just that, Manuj, is incredible advice. It's an incredible exercise, because if people can use Chat GPT to learn to ask better questions, to be more curious about things and people that they don't know, we can get back to a situation where we're having better conversations, better relationships, and doing better things. Exactly. So thank you so much for that, because obviously the D-Rate the Hate podcast, bettering the world one attitude at a time. How can we as individuals, what tools do we have at our disposal as individuals that can make our lives better? And if this tool will help us learn and get better at learning from other people, it's an incredible tool, and it needs to be used.
Yes, exactly. And it is not just other people. It is like the sum total of all human consciousness. Like, you can learn about anything and everything, about history, you can imagine the future. You can talk about what happened in the early stages of evolution during caveman time. Like, it's got all this knowledge. Ask it anything, and then your mind starts to expand.
Expanding the mind is a very important thing, my friend. Yes. It is a very, very important thing. Well, Manuj, I know we're getting close to the end of our time today. It's been an incredible conversation. I'm certainly looking forward to more conversations with you, because this is I think obviously this, from what I can imagine with this, it's just the beginning of a very new and real time in human history.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking forward to it, because again, innovation has done wonders for the human race, and it's going to continue doing wonders. What can people do to see more or hear more from you, Manuj? I think it's manujaggarwal.com is your website. what can people find at manujaggarwal.com, and just give me a little rundown of what people can expect.
Well, they can read my story. First of all, I shared, read a little bit about my work, read a little bit about what I offer, the kind of people I associate with. I've been I've had the pleasure of interacting with Nobel Prize winners, the former director of the CIA, a lot of celebrities, executives, all of this sort of to get the same knowledge that I'm sharing. So I asked my guests or my people these questions so that I can expand my consciousness, and I share that with you. So that story, that journey, that offering is available on the website. And of course, through that website, if you want to get in touch with me, then you can send me an email, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can just search my name on LinkedIn and connect with me and let me know that you heard me on this podcast.
Oh, great. So great. I greatly appreciate you taking the time, Manuj, to join me here on the DTH podcast. I know the listeners will get as much out of it as I did, and really proud to call you a friend of the show, and look forward to more conversations in the future.
Absolutely. Same here. Thank you so much.
Friends, if there's anything in this episode that provided exceptional value to you, please make sure to hit that share button. Share it with your friends, share it far and wide. And of course, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe right from our website so you can get the Derate the Hate podcast sent to your email inbox every week. So this is Wilk wrapping up for the week, saying get out there, be kind to one another, be grateful for everything that you've got, and remember, it's up to you to make each and every day the day that you want it to be. If there is something that you would like to share with me, you can catch me on most social media platforms, or you can email me directly, wilk@wilksworld.com. With that, my friends, I am going to back on out of here, and we will catch you next week. Take care.